Peace, peace. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful Thursday. We're a little early, so we're gonna play a little jam to set the stage. You feel me?
Before they call us black, we was wrong. My name is my name on this song. One time for all the black niggas. We gonna keep it real today, though. Know what y'all need? The only one that came and told us. Before we was called Negroes. Before we was called blacks. Before we was called colors. Before we was called African Americans. We was called Moors. Know that. I said, we ain't true, just like see, it was John. Now we walking down the block, we off that long, we ain't trying. Hand me a lesson around that neck, no longer falls. And we only taking candidates, no more balls, and these rock stars, status now. Hip hop legend, reaching for the stars, and you just might get it. Baby, please study the astrology. True signs to understand yourself. This is knowledge, this is wealth, and I'm still with it. I'm talking metal gear solid. Study under street niggas, and I went to college. Greatness all around me, and I really be modest. But people don't like it when you're too honest. But honestly, I don't really give a fuck now. I don't care about your Bugattis or your Bustails. Care about my people out in Yemen and in Syria. And linking up with all my family in Nigeria. You don't hear me, bitches, so what kind of talking real life? But my niggas only listen to the film nights. Oh, yeah. Let that summer heat slow. Drop a couple jewels, can I drop a few more? Cool. I am Ali with the flow. Before they call us black, we was more. My name is my name on this song. I'm pushing truth. If you know, then you know.
That's it. That's it.
Nigga, what's happening? You feel me?
You feel me?
Seven's up.
Seven's up now. Seven's up now. Ali now. You're gonna let that ride out because I like this beat. It's crazy. Okay, okay. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Peace. I am Rami Salamel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Today, we are going to be talking about Moorish Americans or American citizens. And I want to keep it real plain and simple and plain, especially due to the news, the coverage about Moors as of recent, due to an offshoot kind of radical group. Don't really want to focus on that. Really want to focus on the fact that Moorish Americans are American citizens. Moorish Americans are not sovereign citizens. Moorish Americans are not Moorish sovereign citizens. Moorish Americans are not foreign nationals. Moorish Americans are not citizens of Morocco. Moorish Americans are not citizens of the Moorish Empire. Moorish Americans are not citizens of the Moorish American Empire. Moorish Americans are not citizens of a Mexim. Um, what are the other creative things I didn't heard? Any of those, fantastical names, with all due respect, that's not us. Moorish Americans are American citizens. And not because I'm saying it, not because I believe that or I feel that way, but that's what Noble Drew Ali, which was the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the organization that helped teach us about ourselves, about our true history, our nationality, our creed, um, who we consider to be a true and divine prophet. Noble Drew Ali made it clear that we're American citizens. Noble Drew Ali never once said that Moorish Americans are foreign nationals. Noble Drew Ali never once said that Moorish Americans are citizens of Morocco. Noble Ali said very clearly, and I dropped a link. Matter of fact, let me pin it up top in the little chat box. Boom. And I'm gonna read from this. This is Moorish literature. You know what I mean? For anyone, whether you're Moor or a different nationality trying to get an understanding, there's this package of information called Moorish literature. It's a bunch of writings, a collection of writings from Noble Ali. That's not um, it's not so much religious or spiritual, but more about history, about a mission statement in essence of the Moor Science Temple of America, messages to Moors, messages to all American citizens. And so we're going to get into that because I don't want you to believe me. I want you to hear the evidence and the facts, um, so it'll be clear to you and clear to everybody so that we won't have any confusion. If you hear someone saying, "Oh, I'm a Moorish American, I'm a foreign national, and I'm a sovereign," I'm sovereign of the Moorish Empire, and eh, just ask them if you hear that. Ask them where did can you show me where that was taught by Noble Drew Ali? Just ask them that question. Do you have a source of where that was taught by Noble Drew Ali? And just sit back and watch what happens. They'll most likely they'll say, "Oh, this and that and the third," or they'll give you some roundabout interpretation of what they believe it was meant by, but they won't be able to give you a verbatim source where you can read word for word where Noble Drew Ali said we're foreign nationals or more sovereigns or citizens of the Moorish Empire or citizens of Morocco. Never once said that. Peace. Um, and so let me read here. Um, right off the top, one excerpt is from Prophet Drew Ali Speaks to the Nations. Says, "If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish national and divine movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen." And he's speaking to the so called Negroes. For us to be recognized as American citizens, we have to claim our free national name, which is a Moorish American. Let me come down a little bit further for you. Here we go. Just another reference so that we're clear what Noble Drew Ali was speaking about. It says, and I'm hereby calling on all true citizens to stand for free national government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Just so we're clear, so it's not no confusion. American citizens of a Maxim, no. American citizens of the United States of America. This is what Noble Drew Ali was referring to, speaking in reference to so-called black people, so-called Negroes. Our true identity, our true nationality, our national name is Moorish American. Uh, I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. Understanding, making it clear that we're part of the United States of America. We're American citizens. We're not citizens of Morocco or some other nation. Um, right below in this next paragraph, I love my people and desire their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greek, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. Speaking about us, again, in reference to us clinging to names and principles that are unconstitutional, clinging to names such as Negro or colored or black. That's not a proper identity. And just the same as he's saying is Japanese brothers and sisters, Greek, English, Chinese brothers and sisters, Turks, Italians, just as everyone else proclaims their national name and their religion, it should be the same for all American citizens alike, including Moorish Americans. Um, Now let me get to one that's like very direct, so you can't even have no misunderstanding. Moorish leaders' historical message to America says since the work of the Moorish Science Temple was largely religious, the organization has been legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office in Illinois. Inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, we have it as the revealed word of God Allah. Um, we shall foster the principles of his teachings among our members. This is our religious privilege as American citizens. I'm going to read this again. Inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, we have it as the revealed word of the God Allah. We shall foster the principles of his teachings among our members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is our religious privilege as American citizens under the laws of one of the greatest documents of all time, the American Constitution. So, very clear. Our religious privilege as American citizens, speaking about Moorish Americans, not foreign nationals, not sovereign citizens, not citizens of Morocco, not nationals of the Moorish Empire, none of that. American citizens. And then I'm going to read a couple more just to drive it on home. This is to be proclaimed at every meeting. So this is just very clear. If you see anyone that's speaking about Moorish science, Noble Ali, Moorish Americans, and they are trying to convince you that Moorish Americans are foreign nationals or citizens of a Mexim or something other than American citizens. There's this excerpt I'm about to read that says to be proclaimed at every meeting. So this should be well known. It's nothing difficult to find. It's not nothing, some information that was hidden. This is well known. Says, I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials in the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens. This is supposed to be proclaimed at every meeting for the Moorish Science Temple of America for Moorish Americans hearing this. This movement that is the sole foundation for their earth, and the Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, not foreign nationals, not sovereign Moorish empire sultans, not nationals of a Mexim, none of those. As creative as you want to be, respectfully, Moorish Americans are American citizens. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No way around this. This is what it is. Um, I mean, here we go, another one, nicknamed. This is speaking about us as, the different names that have been placed on us. In the second paragraph, it says, just as they have saddled on the Moorish Americans the name Negro, they have also given him a religion that was made to enslave him and stop his progress. It is the duty of every man who lives to redeem the name of his forefathers and not be herded into a mass of weaklings. Stop referring to yourself as Negro, colored, and black, for you are neither. If you are men, American citizens, speak up for yourself or it will never be done. It doesn't say foreign nationals. It doesn't say more sovereigns. It doesn't say citizens of Morocco, the Moorish Empire citizens. It says American citizens. It's very important, man. One more time. One more time. I'm about to wrap it up. But dumb. Just I want to make sure that I put the facts on the table. So it's not, oh well, I believe or I feel. It's not about what you feel, respectfully. It's not about your opinion. It's not about what you believe. This is the facts. This one is coming from the War Science Temple of America. It says, it is most earnestly hoped that the Moor Science Temple of America will not in any way be confused with any Back to Africa movement. Such is not important insofar as American citizens of our group colonizing Africa are concerned. We of the Moor Science Temple of America, like countless other American citizens, I'm going to read that one more time. We of the Moor Science Temple of America, which would be Moorish Americans, like countless other American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race and creed may be. I mean, that spelled it out right there. The last one, I'll just read this last one because it's right here. To all governors, grand sheiks, and head officials of the temples. So this is just clear. Anybody that's a head of a temple calling himself a grand sheik, they all know this or should know this. They should all be teaching this or should be teaching this. By order of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has said the following thing during this our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moor Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship. I'll read that sentence one more time. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali has said the following thing during this our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moor Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship. Moorish Americans are American citizens, not anything else. Hear people calling us foreign nationals. Hear people saying we're citizens of Morocco, or Moroccan citizens, we're citizens of a Mexim, we're nationals of the Moorish Empire. All of that is, sounds really good, fantasy, their belief. It's not the facts. The fact is, Moorish Americans are American citizens. We're supposed to follow, respect, obey the laws of the Constitution for the United States of America. Anything else is uncivilized. Love, man. Love. Ah, oh, that's a great question, man. Cloth Talk Champs. Thank you for that question. What's the difference between a regular Moor and a temple Moor? That's a great question. Let me say that again. What's the difference between a regular Moor and a temple Moor? Cloth Talk Champs. Thank you for the question. I don't know in terms, I don't know what people mean, but let me express my perspective on it. When you hear people saying, "Oh, those temple Moors," or when you hear people refer to Moorish Americans or Moors as "quote unquote" temple Moors, understand that that's an underhanded slight. That's an underhanded disrespect towards the Moorish Science Temple of America. And then I want you to think about very carefully that Noble Drew Ali was a quote unquote temple Moor. So what are they really saying? Noble Drew Ali created and founded the temple. He's the templest Moor of the temple Moors, if you want to put it like that. So are they what you slight Noble Drew Ali? Is that what you're saying when you're talking down about quote unquote temple Moors? Respectfully, in my opinion, the people that try to divide Moors into temple Moors versus non-temple Moors or regular Moors, and this also goes for Moors in the temple trying to slight people that's outside of the temple. We got that's a problem too. We have, but my point is we got to cut that dividing people up in terms of quote unquote temple Moors. If there's anything I think that you want to classify or a way to box people, it's by seeing do they follow and do they adhere to the principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If they living, if they adhering, if they standing on the principles and really living the principles, then that's a true Moorish American right there. That's a Moorish American. That's a true Moor that's standing on their square, as some people may say, versus somebody that's not living by the principles. They may call themselves a Moor or a Grand Sheik or a Moorish American, but you see them cursing left and right and being disrespectful and demeaning towards people and judgmental and just real mean and vicious towards people. Well, they ain't really representing, they ain't really living by the principles because we supposed to love instead of hate. So if there's anything in terms of a regular Moor trying to um, classify Moors, I would just say brothers and sisters, Moorish Americans that are living by the principles, you know what I mean, and really showing and proving by the principles, and those that are fronting, you know what I mean, that is just pretending, this just dressing the part, that's just trying to look the part, but they not really living the principles. And you can see it through people's actions. Oh, I guess it has something to do with the temple being a corporation registered to government. Um, Respectfully, I wouldn't listen to. Mm, Let me not say it that way. I would say to study Noble Drew Ali's teachings. As I read earlier, it said very clearly that due to most of the work being largest religious, they changed the organization to a religious corporation and filed an affidavit and did the proper paperwork. So I would say study Noble Drew Ali's teachings. I mean, regardless of whatever you're trying to understand about Moorish science and the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Americans, study Noble Drew Ali's teachings. What did Noble Drew Ali say about something? And then from there, hear these other different Moorish teachers or Moorish leaders, scholars, etc. Um, and that way you can discern what is correct and what is accurate based on what Noble Drew Ali taught versus what somebody else is just talking and what they believe. Is there any other questions? Is Moors a bloodline or a belief? Is Moors a bloodline or a belief? King Akankil L. Is Moors a bloodline or a belief? Um, Moors are people. it's not. Um, it's not a blood. I mean, I guess in that sense you could say a bloodline. I just don't think that people refer to groups of people as bloodlines. When I think about Chinese people or Cambodian people, I don't think about, oh, the Cambodian bloodlines. It's just the Cambodian people. Um, so yeah, Moors are people. Um, and to clarify, Noble Drew Ali, who we consider to be a prophet, or you could say a messenger, a super wise dude. He came with a lot of information. Point being is he came with the knowledge and the information about who we are, who our ancestors were, because it was stripped away from us when we were labeled Negroes, blacks, and colors, and we were enslaved. So he came and brought our history to us, our lineage, and also brought our creed, our religious, our way of life. The thing about our creed or our religion, our way of life, our belief system, is that it can't be forced on anybody. Your way of life is got to be your choosing. So while it is true that Moors, historically, if you look into the history books and the records and you see our ancestors did practice Islam, um, it's not mandatory just because someone is Moorish that they are practicing the Islamic faith or the Islamic way of life, if that makes sense. And that's a bit complicated, I understand, especially if you're coming from the outside looking in, because you hear more say Islam and Allah and the Quran. And then if you look into history, you see Moors is used synonymously with Muslim and Arabs and the golden age of Islam. So it can be a bit confusing, but um, I hope that clarified things. All good. Johnny Bravo, is a Moor a U.S. citizen? A Moor is an American citizen, as it says on the title, man. American citizen, right there. You know what I mean? Of the United States of America. You feel me? I appreciate the question. Was there any other questions? Was I clear about American citizens? Feel like that was pretty clear, pretty straightforward. If you have any more questions, if you need the link to the information I was reading, you want to get the source, you can email me at iamhhtemple@gmail.com. I'll also drop it in the comment section so you can just click it right there. Um, American citizens of the United States of America. Yes, indeed, Johnny Bravo. Yes, indeed. Um, Noble Drew Ali, please study what Noble Drew Ali said. There's a lot of Moors. You'll see a lot of Moors wearing a fez or a turban, and they may sound very convincing. They may sound very knowledgeable, but study what Noble Drew Ali said first, please. Not to worship him, not to just believe everything he says blindly. Verify, and cross-reference what Noble Drew Ali said. I urge you humbly to do that. But start with Noble Drew Ali, and then use that as the foundation when you're studying these other people or listening to these other people or even myself, because some of these individuals out here are very manipulative and are using this information to mislead people and to, unfortunately, in some cases, radicalize people, and that's it's not good. Yeah. Um, oh, that's a great question. Before I get up out of here, Elazar Yash, man, that's a hard name. Rala, Elazar Ya, Elazar Yasha, Elazar Yasha. What's the difference between historical Moors and the ones today? Couple hundred years. Really and truly, they, Moors. When you look up Moors, typically they'll speak about Moors from 711 to 1492. Um, and the difference between Moors in that reference of time and us today is simply those are our ancestors. And over the hundreds of years, through migration, through enslavement in some cases, um, you know, uh, intermingling with families and such. Some of our people were already here also, but that's how it transitioned from Moors of the golden age of Islam, or the what is it called, the medieval ages, the Moors of 711 1492, and Moorish Americans today is simply those are our ancestors. And that's why Noble Ali, in this book here, which is the question and answer book, Quran Questions for Moorish Americans, why he speaks about the question, why are we Moorish Americans? Because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. But when you look into the history of Morocco, it's much bigger than just the kingdom of Morocco that we see today. When you look back into history, in particular, when Moors were ruling that area, Morocco was, essentially a large part of Northwest North Africa. Um, but yeah, thank you for the question. Um, I don't have a website. Uh, I mean, this channel here, you can check out more videos here. Um, and are Mexicans Moors? Thank you for that last question. Mexicans are Mexicans. One love to my Mexican brothers and sisters. Um, sorry, it's just funny to me. You know, Mexicans are Mexicans. Brazilians are Brazilians. Uh, Trinidadians are Trinidadians. You feel me? I'm, I'm sorry. That was. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. Much love. I'm gonna get out of here. Keep shining. Study Noble Drew Lee's teachings. Understanding Moorish Americans or American citizens, not foreign nationals, not Moorish Empire nationals or any of that other stuff. Moorish Americans are American citizens. Um, yeah. Much love. Keep shining. And that's that on that. Peace.